Good to be back. Who here? I don't even see any faces that I really recognize. It's been 4 years, a lot of turnover. But Baruch Hashem, this place looks better than I left it. New floors, new ceiling, new windows, new koilel, new school. Mikvah, I was here. I have to see the mikvah after, Rabbi.
Yes, for sure.
Nighttime swimming.
Yeah.
So I want to share with you something that had a tremendous impact on my shul. It was actually not even given over by me, so I'm sharing, paying it forward. The Torah that changed, I think, a good 10 people's lives and enhanced their ability to learn, to finish. A few people in my shul were Messiah Masechtas because of this idea. If you take it to heart, it could really be game-changing. And the individual who gave this idea over in my shul is Rabbi Kahan, Shlita, the Av based in Mesharim in Lakewood. Very chashuv dayan and a very chashuv rav. And he said in his shul, there's individuals that took what we're going to learn tonight and they put it into action, and some of them finished Shas based on implementing what we're going to learn. He has someone in his shul that finishes 6 dapim a day at this point because of what he gave over in this year. So I'm not guaranteeing anything, but I personally finished 10 Masechtas in Mishnayos because of this year. From the Shabbos he gave it. When did he give it? Last year, Parshas Vayechi. So almost to the day that we had this at my shul. So I want to share it, pay it forward with you. We'll start with some good questions on the Parsha. Vayechi, Yaacov, Eretz Mitzrayim, 17 shana, Vayim, Yaacov, Shnei Chayav, 7 shnim, Ribban shana, Vayikravu, Yemei Yisrael, Lamos. Interesting pasuk right at the beginning. Vayikravu, Yemei Yisrael, Lamos. That the days of Yisrael drew near, they got close, Lamos, to die. The days of Yaakov Avinu drew close to die. There's a very interesting lashon. We don't find it anywhere else in the Torah. Vayikrevu yemei someone, lamus. That his days drew near to die. What does that mean? Vayikrevu yemei Yisrael lamus. That his days drew near to die. Your days draw near. You near your end. You near the end of your days. That's true. But it doesn't say he neared the end of his days. It says Vayikrevu yemei Yisrael lamus, that his days drew near to die. What in the world does that mean? His days drew near to die. That's question number 1. Question number 2, asked the Orach Chaim, how did he know he was going to die? The pasuk says that he called Yosef in, he made him take a shavua, that he was going to bury him in Eretz Yisrael, not in Mitzrayim. How did he know he was going to die? So we all know famously Yaakov Avinu was the one who davened to Hashem that he should institute something new into the world called sickness. That a person should become sick and weak before they die, because it used to be that when a person sneezed, the neshama left their body and they would drop dead in the shuk, says the Medrash. So Yaakov Avinu said, it's very difficult to order your affairs before you die, to get things ready, to bless your children, if you don't know when you're going to go. So you might want to answer, so maybe he was sick, but he wasn't sick yet. Vahi avicha choleh is a full 10 psukim later when he calls in Ephraim and Menashe to get their brachas. This was before he became sick. So before he became sick, how did he know that he was going to die? Vayikrevu yemei Yisrael lamus. How did he know that he was going to call Yosef in to take the shvuah, that he would bury him in Eretz Yisrael, not in Mitzrayim? So how did he know he was going to die? That's question number 2. Okay, let's leave the parsha, table those for a minute. And I want to learn a halacha in Shulchan Aruch with you. An interesting halacha l'maisa. Says the Shulchan Aruch, Siman Reish Lamed Ches. Tzarech li zahir belimud halayla yeser mi b'shel yom. All of you are being Mekayim right now. Very good job. That you have to be more careful with learning at night than you are with learning during the day. You know how much harder it is to learn at night, to get out and to get yourself to the base medrash? It's because it's more important. The Yitzhahara knows that. The Rambam says that the majority of a person's chachma is acquired at night. So the Shulchan Aruch says you have to make sure to learn at night. The mevatlo onsho meruba. Very scary. Anyone who's not here in this base medrash tonight for no good reason. So mevatlo, if you are mevato learning at night for no good reason, there's a severe punishment. Im yesh lo chok kavua lilmod kach v'kach liyom. If a person adopts a quota for learning every day, v'hayatarud b'yom v'lo hishlimu, and he was busy in the day, he got caught up in things, he didn't finish it. Daf Yomi, Mishnah Yomi, whatever Yomi the person has. Yashlimenu balayla miyad. So make sure you finish it at night immediately. Immediately. So why? Why do you have to finish it at night immediately? It should just say, don't fall behind too much. We know Daf Yomi, like, one daf, okay, you'll make it up, 2, 3, okay, then it gets harder. So make it up. He says, no. Immediately at night. Why? Says the Mishnah Berurah, Yashlimenu balayla, Kilomar afilu b'leilu saktsarim, mechuyav lios neir balayla k'dei lashlim chuko. Even in the short nights, summer, there's very little night, the person has to stay up and make sure he finishes his quota that night. And he cannot wait until tomorrow. Don't delay it until tomorrow. The next day has its own quota. It's its own day. It's its own entity. And then this day that you missed, you never finished your quota on that day. And it's something that becomes crooked that cannot be straightened. You cannot rectify it. It's too late. You missed it. I think they just had NBY here in person, live, the man himself, Rabbi Stefanski, and he gave a shir here, and I bet if someone raised their hand and said, Rabbi, what do you do if you fall a day behind? They'll say, don't worry about it. Just make it up the next day. 2 daf the next day. Push it. Rabbi Sai. I don't know his things. I don't listen, but I'm sure he would pump them up and said, just push. The next day you'll do 2 daf. So the Mishnah Berurah says, I'm sorry, sir, but it doesn't work like that. You do 2 daf the next day. That's very nice. You had a great next day, but you can never fix the day that you missed. Why not? It's not how Daf Yomi works. As long as you catch up and you finish the Masechta, so you're good. You caught up. If you miss a day of Shnai Mikra, you catch up. You can catch up. Why can't you just catch up? What does it mean that it's me'uvos lo yachal litkon? It becomes crooked. You can never fix it. And the Shulchan Aruch says you have to finish it that night. Don't go to sleep without finishing it. Immediately upon the night, you have to finish your quota. Why? Why can't you just finish it the next day? Big question. Big question. What is the Mishnah Berurah telling us? What does this mean? So what's the source of this Shulchan Aruch? What's the source of this Mishnah Berurah? There's a Gemara. The Gemara says in Eruvin, Rav bar Yaacov, Yazif, Upara. Rav Acha bar Yaakov, Yazif, he borrowed, Upara, and he paid. That's an interesting Gemara. Lots of people, they borrow, they pay. What's Pirush Rashi? He had a learning quota. He didn't borrow money. He had a learning quota every day. And his Seder was in the daytime. That's when he would learn. And sometimes he was busy at work and he couldn't get to Kollel. So he would borrow from the day, but he would pay it back at night. He had to pay it back at night. So first of all, it's an interesting lashon. He had to borrow and pay, borrow and pay, borrow and pay. So it may remind you of a gadol, for anyone that has read the biography of Chaim Kanievsky, that when he was a younger man and he was marrying off his first children, so before he was the son of Torah, so obviously he was still the son of the stipler, but they were, looking into the shidduch, and they heard that he used to walk around all day mumbling, and they said, oh my gosh, how many kids is this guy married off? How many chovos does he have? This is dangerous. Like, what are we going to do? Are we going to get involved with the shidduch? So people started laughing when they heard that people were chayshish that he was in debt. And they said, oh, you don't know Reb Chaim? Those chovos aren't monetary chovos. Those are chovos in his learning. Do you know what his quota is every single day? And I forgot what it said in the Sefer, but it's something crazy. It's obviously 7 daf of Bavli alone, but every year he finished all Shulchan Aruch, all of Bavli, all Yerushalmi, all Kisveri, all of Zohar, all Medrash, finished everything every single year. Can you imagine what he did on a daily basis? His chavos. There was a story also in the book that he once got home from a wedding that he had to go to, and it was 1 a.m, and he literally could barely, this was already in his older years, and he could barely walk through the precipice of his doorway. He pulled himself up the stairs. Everyone knows what his apartment looked like with the stairs outside. And he barely got himself up the stairs, and he was shuffling his way into his house. And the people who were with him said he leaned up against the doorpost, and he put his head and he said, "Ay, my chovos, ay, my chovos, my chovos." And he was dead tired. He could barely walk, but he sat down and he learned for a full hour. He learned for an hour, 2 a.m. He was exhausted, but his chovos, he felt that he had chovos. He learned this Gemara, obviously, in Eruvin. He made for himself every single day chovos, quotas, obligations, real chovos. He was stressed out. It was on his mind constantly. They say, those that knew him, that he was constantly mumbling about his chovos every day. This wasn't a one-time occurrence. You have to know the amount that he learned on a daily basis. Lo yuman, you can't believe it. It's impossible. But he did it. How did he get there? Chovos. This was not optional. It wasn't when he felt like it. I don't know if you could call it a shvua, a neder. I don't know how he took it upon himself. But it was real chovos that he accepted upon himself. What's his inyan of chovos? Why did he do that? Why did Rav Acha bar Yaacov do this in the Gemara? So I want to share with you an amazing Orach Chaim HaKadosh. That's what we're going to learn in the short time we have left. And the Orach Chaim is going to answer all of our questions and give a tremendous, tremendous yisod. The Orach Chaim HaKadosh quotes the Arizal, and he's answering this question. Vayikrevu Yemei Yisrael Lamus. What does it mean that his days drew near? So this is what the Arizal says. V'amnam yadata mehitchalkut haneshamos l'kama nitzotzos. Every neshama is broken up into nitzotzos, sparks. Ubechol gilgul v'gilgul ba'im ktsas mehem. And the 600,000 root neshamas of Klal Yisrael, and every gilgul is given a number of these nitzotzos, of these sparks. Ukfi mispar hanitzotzos shel hatzelem, kach mispar yemei chayav. How long does a person live for? However many nitzotzos he has in the beginning of his life. Hashem fills him up with these sparks. There's tzaddikim that would be able to look at a person and they'd know when the person is going to die. They said, this person doesn't have many years left. How they know? So they can look at the person, they saw his nitzotzos. They saw, imagine like the jars of jelly beans, you have to guess how many are in the jar. So every person is born with a jar of jelly beans. And that's the amount of days that he has. As the jelly beans get used up, so the count goes down. And tzaddikim can see how many jelly beans a person has left. And every day has its own spark, and on that day, if you do the mitzvahs or the avodah of that day, you've rectified that spark. And when he doesn't do a mitzvah on that specific day, he's not rectifying that day, it remains pagum. And that's the way that it works. Where does Arizal get this from? So the Orach Chaim HaKadosh quotes the Zohar. And the Zohar says something amazing. It says, why is sleep called 1/60th of death? Chazal say, it's because every single night, the spark of that day goes up and it stays up in Shamayim. It's kept in a safe up there. It's a chesed of Hashem that you can't ruin a day once that day has been rectified. Once you accomplish that day goes up and it stays up in Shamayim. And every single day that a person lives, he goes to sleep that night, his nitzotz, that day goes up into Shamayim and it stays there. And he comes back down with one less nitzotz. And that's how every day of a person's life goes by. The spark stays up and he comes back down. And he explains that through the Zohar, that this is why in the days of Adam Rishon, they had to live so many years because Hashem gave them so many nitzotzos that they had to rectify. And he realized that they would make a mistake, they failed, so he started giving people less and less, so people started living shorter and shorter, so they had a more concentrated avoda, less of a job to accomplish, and everybody's given their own nitzotzos, their own little sparks. And every single night, that spark goes up and the person's neshama comes back down without those sparks. It says there's a roshem, there's a little bit of an imprint left from that spark, but they come back down. And the Orach Chaim HaKadosh says that this is what it means that Vayikrevu Yemei Yisrael Lamus, that before a person dies, he says, all of those sparks come back down into the person until his neshama goes back up. And this is what the pasuk means in Tehillim when it says, Toisef Rucham Yigva'un. Hashem increases their ruach, their spirit, v'yigvon, and then He collects their neshama. That at the end of a person's life, the Ohr HaChaim HaKadosh says, those nitzotot come back down, and they enter into a person. He has enhanced spirit at the very end of his life, and then all of them go back up to Shemayim. That's what happens at the end of a person's life. And he says, that's Vayikruvu Yemei Yisrael Lamos. Vayikruvu Yemei Yisrael means the days of his life came down, they came close, they grew near. All the days came back, they drew near to him, and he saw, Yaacov Avinu, oh my gosh, all of my sparks are coming back down. I must be getting close to the very, very end. Tosef Rucham Yigvaon, that he felt Tosef Rucham Yigvaon, I'm about to get collected. So this is what the Shulchan Aruch and the Mishnah Berurah are telling us. It's a very, very interesting concept that each day is its own entity, and it will never come back again. There's no making up for today tomorrow. There's tomorrow. You can do more good things tomorrow, of course, but you can never make up for today. It's me'avos lo yachal litkon. That's what the Mishnah Berurah said, that if you missed your quota for today, you can't make it up tomorrow. You can do double tomorrow, but you can't make up today, because today's up there. It's no longer down here. Today, that nitzutz is already in Shemayim. You can't touch it down here. You can't ruin it, but you also can't add to it. You can't fix it anymore. It stays up in Shemayim. So when Rav Khan said this to our Chabura, to our Shir, so he said that therefore a person needs to realize this is what Rav Chaim Kanievsky was doing. This is what many tzaddikim, many Talmidei Chachamim do. They accept upon themselves a chov. Every day you learn something. One thing that's Yehareg Bal Yavor, pick something very, very small. Mine is 2 Mishnayos, Mishnah Yomi. It's an easy one. There's someone in our Chabura that took upon himself 2 psukim of Tanakh, literally 2 psukim. But every single day, and they made a WhatsApp group after this year, and there was about 10 guys on the WhatsApp group, and every single night they would put done, finish their chiyuv. One guy did 10 lines of Gemara. He's finished 2 Masechtas already. There's a person in Rav Khan Shul, who I mentioned, added every single year, he's up to 6 daf a day. He's retired, obviously. 6 daf a day, because he kept adding. When you start doing this inyan of looking at each day as an independent entity, and you need to have some Torah that day. I don't care if you're on vacation. I don't care if it's your daughter's wedding. Pick something small. That's why you pick 2 Mishnayos. You pick 2 Psukim, whatever it is, 10 lines of Gemara. But something small every single day, so that when your days go up to Shemayim, every single day has Torah. Every single day has that chov. That's Rav Chaim Kanievsky. That's why he became Rav Chaim Kanievsky. He took upon himself chovos, and he kept adding and adding and adding and adding until he finishes a non-human amount of Torah finished every single day, because he kept adding. And it really, really works. You're shocked. A Yomi, why is Yomi so powerful? Daf Yomi, Mishnah Yomi, is because when you do something every day, you're shocked at how much you accomplish. It's really, really unbelievable. And there's an inyan that each day is its own entity. And therefore, when you take upon yourself this avoda, so not only do you finish tremendous amounts of Torah, but you also will have every single day with Torah in it. So when you get to Shemayim, the Zohar says your clothing in the Olam Haba is going to be made of your days. So even if you have a good day, but you missed the Torah the day before, you're going to have a day that's stained or empty. And the other day might have learned twice as much, so it's going to be really shiny and really fancy, but you're still going to have a hole in your clothing. That's what the Ohr HaChaim brought the Zohar. That's what it says. You have a hole in the clothing. So it's an inyan every single day. So I give you the challenge. It's not easy, but just pick something today. No reason not to start. Parshas Vayechi, Vayikruvu Amel Lamus. Pick something, one Mishnah, but every single day, literally every day. It's your Kviyas and Torah. Yehareg Bal Yavor. You finish that Mishnah, no matter how tired you are at night. I've had days where I'm in bed, it's 11 o'clock. I do it with my son, and I went and I woke him up. I said, we forgot to do our Mishnayos. 2 Mishnayos a day. And we do our 2 Mishnayos a day. And that's it. And he agreed to do it. He's been doing it with me since we started. And that's it. I'm a Mishnah Yomi guy now. And I really would not have done it if I didn't hear this. So hopefully this will have a lasting imprint, and everybody should pick your chov. And next time we meet, we should hear about a lot of siyumim that we made.